There are some that are saying that people don't go to the movies anymore because it's too expensive or they'll just wait for streaming. I say bullshit. People don't want to go to the movies anymore because A, Hollywood production companies haven't produced a story compelling enough for audiences to come watch. And B, the general audience is tired of Hollywood's brain-breaking plan of shoehorning in their dumbass politics and social messaging. It leaves people with the question, did I pay to be entertained or to be held hostage?
You stole it. And you stole it.
Then I stole it. It's called capitalism.
Of course they're walking away. Throwing Furiosa up as the face of Mad Max is only going to make the audience think twice before paying for a movie ticket. And make no mistake about it, Furiosa wasn't going to cut it. I mean, it's bad enough that Max almost fully took a back seat in his own movie with Fury Road to Furiosa that really rubbed fans the wrong way. And this was before the culture war started to really brew. Now, 10 years later, times have changed and people are sitting here going, well, of course, they completely taken Mad Max out of his own movie and replaced him with a strong female character. I know, when the term strong female character is thrown out there, these days that's just like saying smell my feminist crotch. Take a look at my armpits. I haven't shaved them in 3 months. You know, chicks like this.
I have hair in my armpits. I have it there for a few reasons. 1, lazy. 2, fuck the patriarchy.
But listen, I'm going to be the first one to tell you that George Miller actually wrote a strong female character. You know, the type that we used to love to watch. The bride from Kill Bill. Sarah Connor from Terminator 2. And of course, the queen herself from Aliens. That's right. I'm talking about Vasquez.
Let's rock!
Okay, maybe you can throw Ellen Ripley in there as well.
Get away from her, you bitch!
But was that enough for anybody to really want to watch Furiosa? And the answer is clearly no. The fact of the matter is that you can slap the title Mad Max on this movie all you want, but nobody's going to be fooled. This is how it goes. No Mad Max, no me. And for many, that seems to be the rule rather than the exception. The character of Furiosa was never that interesting to begin with to warrant an origin story. And to be honest, I think audiences are tired of origin stories and prequels, especially origin stories about characters no one gives a shit about. Not many people cared about Furiosa. Nobody wanted a backstory. Nobody asked for a backstory. Yet we got one anyways. You know what everybody has been asking for? Old Man Max. Self-promotion time. You can catch my treatment of Old Man Max by clicking on the link in the description. After this video, of course. Anyways, they slap Mad Max on the title thinking that's going to put asses in seats and trick the audience into thinking he's in the movie. And yes, there is a brief glimpse of Max, but when we do see him, it feels more like a slap in the face to the fans than a moment to cheer. It was almost like he was there to solely justify his name being on the title. It's a marketing ploy that has went terribly wrong, and this has been one of the worst Memorial Day box office returns in 30 years.
We got no food, we got no jobs, our pets' heads are falling off!
But does that mean Furiosa is a terrible movie? By all means, it's not. It's not a great movie. And if I was to rank it in the Mad Max saga, now that they're calling it a saga, I'm going to have to rank it dead last. But as a standalone action movie, it's a good way to kill 2.5 hours and not be terribly bored. Yeah, 2.5 hours, making it easily the longest movie about the wasteland to date. But don't worry though, because an hour of that is just prologue. That's right, the origin story to the origin story is 1 hour long, and you don't get to see Anya Taylor-Joy actually become Furiosa until 1 hour and 10 minutes into it. Are you interested yet? I do like a slow burn to a movie. Films like Alien, that took its time to make sure you understood the logistics and geography of the Nostromo before the actual story even started. But the thing of it is with slow burn movies, the payoff has to be there. And at 1 hour and some change of prologue, it really tests the patience of the audience. When everything's said and done, you realize the prologue could have been summed up in about 10 minutes.
Well, we're waiting.
But extremely long prologues aside, I do have to give kudos to George Miller for keeping the story fairly simple with the plot. A young Furiosa is snatched up from the Green Place and falls into the hands of a biker warlord named Dementus. Her childhood is ended quickly when she watches Dementus crucify her mother. As she sweeps through the wasteland as his prisoner, they come across the Citadel, which is led by the Immortan Joe. Attempting to get a foothold with the triumvirate that is made up of Gastown, Bullet Farm, and the Citadel, Dementus unsuccessfully attacks the Citadel, changes course, and using the Trojan horse strategy, captures Gastown. At the peace negotiations, Dementus demands the Citadel recognizes his authority over Gastown and increases his food and water supply. In exchange, he trades Furiosa. Initially, Furiosa was going to be one of Immortan Joe's stable wives, but Furiosa said, "Nah, fuck that," and escaped from house arrest. Later on, she disguises herself as a mute teenage boy. Furiosa works her way up the ranks, and over a decade goes by and she's helping build the war rig. During an attack on the war rig, the entire crew is wiped out, leaving the rig's commander, Praetorian Jack, and Furiosa as the only survivors. To be honest with you, I'd rather have a movie about Praetorian Jack over Furiosa. He's a much more interesting character who's come out of nowhere. Hey, what the hell's going on with that guy? I already know Furiosa. Get her out of my face. What's that Praetorian Jack dude? He looks cool. Get her out of our face. Pump more Jack into my veins. The charismatic Praetorian Jack recognizes her potential and she is promoted to the rank of Praetorian herself. He asks her to help him rebuild his crew. In exchange, he will help her escape the Citadel.
If you survive everything we take on together, you'll have all the skills you need to get wherever you want to go.
Meanwhile, Gastown has gone to shit because of Dementus, so Immortan Joe decides to attack it. He orders Jack and Furiosa to go collect weapons and ammunition from Bullet Farm, but that asshat Dementus has preemptively attacked it and captured Bullet Farm. When the war rig arrives, he ambushes the shit out of it. Furiosa and Jack barely escape Bullet Farm, and Furiosa's arm is severely injured. Shocking. Both are eventually captured. Jack is tortured to death, and Furiosa escapes by 127 houring her arm off so she can escape the same fate. So the question becomes, will Furiosa ever get the revenge she seeks? And that's part of the problem, is that we already know the answer to this. There was nothing in Fury Road that made us want to go, hey, what's going on with this character? Why is her arm missing? And why is she so cool that she gets to drive the big rig, huh? First of all, let me start off with the good. Hold on, I'm thinking about him. Oh, yeah. Every single performance in this movie is well crafted and executed with perfection. When Anya Taylor-Joy finally shows up in her own movie, you can clearly see the transformation she's going to become in Fury Road throughout this entire picture. It would be interesting to watch Furiosa back to back with Fury Road and see how well her and Charlize Theron's performances blend together. Anya Taylor-Joy may be the title character, but Chris Hemsworth steals the show. That's for damn sure. His absolute psychotic performance in Dementus is something you never thought you'd see out of Chris Hemsworth. Dementus is a villain that could be easily played over the top, yet Chris Hemsworth just plays him chaotic and charismatic. He's just downright fun to watch in this movie, as he torments everyone.
Tomorrow, I'll follow the tracks that brought you here and I'll take you home. Ah, she's your mother. Perfect.
I will take this girl. Otherwise, it's war.
Deal.
Another fantastic aspect of this film is when they use practical effects for the action sequences. But that's part of the problem because that's few and far between. George Miller, once the king of practical effects, is no longer. And that's sad to say. The Mad Max franchise has always been known for its stunts. And throughout the series, you saw the stunts get more and more elaborate. You felt like when you were watching these movies that 150 people died on set because these stunts were so dangerous. When you watch Furiosa, it feels just as dicey as being bundled in a bed made of bubble wrap. There seems to be no risk involved, no hazardous driving, no severe car crashes. That's because this heavily relies on green screen more than anything else, and the CGI at best looks cartoonish. It made you think that the special effects consultant was Neil Cinema God Breen.
I don't need much to live on anymore. I just eat tuna out of the can and live in the car.
Oh, Neil, you fucking Chad, you. So with that being said, you have an origin story that nobody asked for, mixed with a bunch of stunts that was drawn on a computer. Just because you dreamt it, George, doesn't mean it belongs on screen. Instead of being immersed in the wasteland, the CGI is so bad that you're constantly reminded that you're sitting in the middle of the movie theater. And that to me is a big no-no. While the chase scenes do provide some good action, they are so repetitive that as I sit here and talk, I can't tell the chase scenes apart. There was no character to them, and they're not dynamic enough to remember where exactly they happened in the movie. So with a lot of people complaining about no one going to see this movie over a long weekend, I can tell you this. A lot of filmgoers are pretty much over the mega budget CGI ass fest. People want to get back to the nitty gritty filmmaking. Lower budgets but better story. Practical effects and CGI only used to enhance them. People want to watch movies where everything is seemingly tangible to the actors, and therefore to the audience by extension. The heavy use of CGI in Furiosa takes you right out of it. It's supposed to be a wasteland, yet everything about the wasteland doesn't seem real at all. That's because you have a team of 200 people drawing every grain of sand. So the more movies you make that belong in CGI hell, the more you give audiences characters that no one cares about, the more you shit on your customers, and the more you ignore their gripes, yeah, they're definitely not going to show up. People want to go to the movies. They want to take at least an hour and a half out of their day and forget about their troubles in a nice comfy chair with strangers. And yeah, that sounds weird, but it could get weirder. A lot weirder.
Who are you? Please help me. Huh? Please help me.
Back in the 80s all the way up to the early 2000s, you could pick a weekend, any weekend, and you would have a tough time choosing between two good movies. So no, I'm not buying that people don't go to the movies anymore. That's an excuse that lets production companies off the hook. If that were the case, movies like Barbie, the Super Mario Brothers movie, and Oppenheimer should have done poorly last year. The fact of the matter is they either did over $1 billion or close to it. Yeah, that's it. Blame the audience. It's just because they don't want to go see movies anymore. Give me a damn break. Sorry, I just have to call bullshit on that. So just give the audience what they want. Old Man Max. Duh. To say Furiosa falls short of Fury Road is an understatement. But listen, it was never going to be Fury Road. And theoretically, that's alright. What you get instead is a poorly paced, long drawn out, simple plot, where at times the CGI looked like it was scraped from the bottom of the computer barrel. As a standalone action movie, Furiosa's alright. If you need 2.5 hours to kill, you won't be too bored with it. As part of the Mad Max series, though, it is absolutely dismal with no real reason to exist in the first place. If you enjoyed this video, you go ahead and smash that like button. While you're done doing that, hit the subscribe button. And then, after that, share this with your friends, family, people you hate. Maybe you don't like my content and just want to waste somebody's time. Do it. Share it. Thank you. It is much appreciated. I'm out of here.